What's going on, Raider Nation? Welcome everyone to I See Football. This is my channel, and I'm here with the 2018 draft review, Oakland Raiders style. I'm usually only make videos about the Raiders because they're my favorite team, and well, all of the teams are not as good. But that doesn't mean that I will not look into other teams. If anybody has any, teams they want me to look into, or if anybody wants me to look into some players, I can do that, and I can give you my analysis of them. Here I'm just going to be breaking down the 2018 NFL Oakland Raiders picks, specifically the first 6 picks, I think, and Azim Victor as well, because I think he's an interesting prospect. But really, what I'm going to do in this video is just show you guys why I think these guys were the picks that were chosen. Now, I don't claim to be an expert, and I'm not, some guru. I'm really just a fan that likes to do a little bit of video work and a little bit of draft review. I never really take anything too seriously, so I'm sorry if you guys don't like the way that I do my videos, or you guys would like to see more footage. I've watched the footage myself, and really, I'm just kind of trying to show you guys or tell you guys what I've seen in the footage and what I think is going to translate to the NFL. So, without further ado, here we go. Let's start this quick review, and thanks for checking in, and go Raiders. So, for the first round we drafted Kolton Miller. Kolton Miller is a prototypical offensive tackle. Now, he has played both on the left and the right. Now, he is 309 pounds, and he definitely plays more with strength than with athleticism or than with technique. Although he is very athletic for his size, he tends to use his strength a little bit more than skill. Now, in the end, he's a very big and very long offensive tackle, so he can make a lot of the plays that he needs to make simply just with his size and his strength. But the problem is when he gets into very quick, speedy pass rushers like a Von Miller, he is not going to be able to stop them a lot of times because he doesn't have the quickness to stop them, at least right off the line, and it might lead to a lot of penalties. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to be what's going to happen. I'm just saying that's kind of what I see right off the bat. Now, the thing is that if you watch Von Miller, he plays a lot on the right side of the line, and that's probably why I think Brandon Parker is going to be playing. So he's probably going to play on the left side, Kolton Miller, so he won't really have to deal with Von Miller, although they do switch him over the line back and forth. So we'll see. But he does not excel against quicker pass rushers. Let's just put it at that. And what you'll find with him is that he uses his leverage very well at times, particularly in the run game. He is a very, very good run blocker. That is what I've noticed again and again, is that he excels in the run game. His pass blocking, though, he can be suspect. And one of the biggest problems with him is his balance. He tends to not have the best footwork, and he gets off balance at times, specifically in pass blocking. And I think it's because when he's backing up, he doesn't quite know exactly where to put his feet to get the right leverage. Whereas quick off the line when it's run blocking, when he's just pushing his guy forward, he can get very good leverage right off the bat and actually can do a very good job, which is why he's better against the run. But one thing that you can point out is that he actually had a very low sack total in college football, and he was protecting Josh Rosen on his blind side. And one of the biggest things that people knock him for, is that he isn't that fluid in his motion, and that he's not consistent in technique. And that's exactly what I just stated. And it really shows in pass protection. And the main reason is because he tends to drop back, get off balance. He is in very good position, but because his feet are not in good position to give him good leverage, he tends to get beat to the inside or to the outside, and he's just left flat-footed, right? So this is something that I think can be worked on, though. It's not something that I think is a necessary flaw. Like, you can't teach size, you can't teach length, you can't teach the things that he has. You can teach the things that he lacks. So that's a big plus for this guy, and which is why I think he was drafted 15th overall. Now, I know a lot of people are mad about the pick, and I kind of was myself when I saw it. I was like, I don't agree with this pick. We definitely could have gotten a better defensive player. But what you'll notice is that if you look at a guy like Kolton Miller, his upside is unbelievable. If he can be a starting tackle for the next 5 years for the Oakland Raiders, even on the left or the right side, I would prefer on the left side, and then especially if Brandon Parker pans out, then that's unbelievable. We've replaced Donald Penn, who, if Kolton Miller can start right away, I'd say we should cut Penn, save that $3-4 million, and sign Navarro Bowman. And then we can cut Derek Johnson before the season starts, and he can basically just be a veteran linebacker in training camp and through the preseason, and we save that money as well. And we go in the season with Navarro Bowman as our leader on defense. I would really like that. And I don't think we'd be losing that much cutting Donald Penn. He was injured at the end of last year, and yeah, I know he started pretty much every game prior to that, but if you look at his, overall ability, he's definitely lacking the speed that he had a few years ago, and he's definitely not as productive, although he's still a great left tackle, and I don't think anybody can take anything away from Donald Penn, because he's definitely a good player. I just think that he is getting old, and we need to look at replacements, and if Kolton Miller can be that, then I don't know why we would not just go on. It's really the money thing, I would honestly love to see Donald Penn on our team, but if we could switch out Donald Penn for Navarro Bowman, I think that would help our team out a lot more, specifically because we signed Kolton Miller, or we drafted Kolton Miller in the first round. Now, the big thing here is that, what you're going to find in this, with this pick is that it was actually very valuable. And the reason is because it was not just, we just took him at 10, which we were, initially at number 10. We traded back to 15 with the Cardinals. This gave us a lot of, accumulate more picks. We got the 3rd and the 5th round for that, and that enabled us to essentially be more, capable of picking up more picks later on, like we did. We traded up to get Mo Hurst, and we were able to trade our 3rd round pick to get Martavius Bryant, which is an excellent pickup. And our offense now gets better with 2 picks in the first round, with basically Kolton Miller and Martavius Bryant. So we get a receiver, and we get a great offensive tackle. I would have liked to see us go defense, maybe Derwin James, but, at the end of the day, we solidified our offensive line, and we picked up another passing threat for Derek Carr. So, right there, I don't think there's any problem, and I think that in the end, it's going to pan out. But the only problem is that if Kolton Miller is really just a backup for Donald Penn, I don't see good first-round value there. Now, that's just my opinion, and maybe if he's, like I said, if he is the best left tackle in the league for the next 10 years, then whatever, it's a great pick, no matter what anybody says. But if he's kind of just going to sit on the bench for a year or two behind Donald Penn, which is where I kind of see it happening, because if you look at what everybody's saying, they're saying he's basically going to be starting at left tackle, and Parker's going to be starting on the right side. So I don't see, why they'd want to be pushing him to left tackle if Donald Penn is already going to be our starting left tackle. Why would they want our first round pick to be, starting in a position where we already have a starter? I think that's a little awkward, and I think that there might be some writing on the wall there that maybe Penn might not be on the team beginning of the year, and maybe we can use that money to add to the defense. I'm just saying, let's see what happens. But anyway, long story short, I think at the end of the day, when you look at Kolton Miller, you'll see that he is just a great player, and he's consistent. A lot of people, I heard a couple analysts saying he's a boom or bust pick. I don't agree with that, because where is the bust? You know what I mean? Like, if you look at his size and strength alone, he has amazing player potential. You know what I mean? But and not only that, but he played in a really good conference. You know what I mean? Like, he played in LSU. He played in a really UCLA. He played in a really good league. You know what I mean? That was Arden Key. That was from LSU. But you can't really knock him for a lot of his problems, because I think that a lot of his problems are not necessarily flaws with his game. They're flaws with his technique, and they're flaws with his coaches. His coaches have not really been teaching him properly, and that's one of the biggest problems. I'm not saying, I'm not saying I know that for sure 100%. I'm just saying it looks like he hasn't been properly coached, and that's something that can be, rectified at the higher level. And that's something that I think a lot of people are not realizing. They're not realizing that, if you actually took this guy and made him into what he can be, and actually taught him how to use his hands, how to use his leverage a little better at times, how to, get better footwork, he can be amazing, an unbelievable player, and a steal at 15. That's just my opinion. And, when the New England Patriots were on the clock, they were showing that they wanted him. So, I mean, right there, we're showing that we have a guy that the Patriots were wanting at 22, and we got him at 15. Sure, we might have lost a little bit, but getting Martavis Bryant as well, I don't think there was any loss in value there. And I think that we ended up getting a pretty good pick in the first round. The only other thing I can say about him, really, is that he needs to be hitting first. He needs to be punching. You know what I mean? Like, he usually is the one to get hit rather than the one to be giving the hit. So he needs to be using his hands to hit defenders in the chest and get them off balance rather than them coming and hitting him and getting him off balance. Because that's where he lacks a lot of hand skills. And if he can learn to utilize his hands in the proper ways, I think he can be an excellent tackle in this league.